Hey guys!
Hi, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Alex.
And I'm Jack.
Today is National Coming Out Day, and we just want to spread love, spread awareness, and talk about our coming out experiences with you guys. I think that is something that, it's very important to talk about, and we're at a point where we would like to share more about ourselves with you guys and build that relationship. So let's get started.
I'll go first. So, when I came out, I was 17, and I came out to my parents first. And it's kind of a funny story because I used me coming out to get myself out of trouble. Because that day, my dad had taken away my car keys because I did something stupid and I wasn't allowed to drive anywhere. So he took away my car keys, something that a parent would do. And at the end of the night, I wanted to go hang out with my friends, but I couldn't drive anywhere. So I just went up to them in their room and I was like, "Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm gay." And first they thought I was like fucking with them, but then I made it real, and then he gave me back my car keys. That's kind of my coming out story. However, I think everyone kind of knew I was gay already, just because I don't know, it was kind of obvious, But yeah, nothing too crazy. It wasn't I didn't have this crazy, After that, I just, slowly started opening up more, and I became a lot happier after that, for sure. But yeah, that's how I came out to my parents.
His was a lot simpler than mine. So I had always known that I was gay, from the very beginning. Basically, I was never really into I don't know, boy things, and my favorite color was pink. I wanted to play with dolls, and I always knew that I wasn't like the other boys, I always knew that. I had my first crush probably around the age of 8. So yeah, basically the point is I always knew. This wasn't something that I discovered. I just knew it and I felt it. Just like when someone straight feels the same attraction just naturally towards the opposite gender, that's how I felt, but towards same gender. I came out when I was 14. I was still very young. That is actually very, very young for someone. 14, you have no idea what your life's going to be like. You have no idea what the world is. You're still figuring it out. I mean, you're barely stepping into your teenage years, but by then I was already confident, and people already knew. People had known my entire life that I was gay. I was just so tired of holding it in. I just needed to let it out, because at this point people were asking. I was like, there's no point to keeping. There's no point keeping it in when literally everyone knows. Everyone already has an idea. Everyone's been asking. So after my 14th birthday, I decided to just start telling everyone, "Yep, just like you already know, I'm gay. I'm just confirming it to you. You already knew it though. It's no surprise. It's no big news. You knew it." So all of my friends were very supportive, of course, and my family. I love all of my siblings. They have always been very supportive. Most of them. I came out to my parents last, and that was probably one of the most hardest things that I had to do in my life. So I decided to tell my mom first. My dad was in the living room. My mom was in their room. So I went to my mom, right? I kind of just started crying immediately. I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know where to, I didn't know what to say. It was just like, "Mommy, I need to tell you something." And then I kind of just took a minute. I froze, and I was just crying. She's like, "What's wrong? What is it?" And I was like, this is just something that I've held my entire life, and I've just never told you. But I mean, I feel like by now you kind of figured I'm attracted to boys, and that's just how I've always been. And I understand, that how I was raised. You guys raised me a certain way. I understand that, but I just need you to know that, this is how I feel, and this is how it's always been for me. And at the time, my grandparents had recently passed away, both of my mom's parents. My grandfather had passed away that year, and then come the following year, my grandmother passed away. So my mom was already going through a difficult situation, so she didn't know how to really process all of that all she said was, I love you, and that's never gonna change. You already know that. Your dad and I are always gonna be here to support you and love you, and you will always be, our kid. That's Nothing's gonna change that. But unfortunately, I don't know if I can support this because basically, to narrow it down, my parents grew up in El Salvador, which is obviously it's a third world country in Central America. They grew up in a different time period for sure, and homosexuality isn't really 100% accepted there. Not only that, my parents, I come from a Christian household. So that is basically the main reason why my parents weren't really 100% about it. I never really told my dad. He kind of just heard from the living room. Because I was crying. I was crying loud. So at that point, he could hear it. I didn't have to tell him. He just heard the conversation. But my dad and I never really spoke about it, honestly. It was basically my mom and I. They made it clear that they will always be there for me and that no matter what, they're still going to love me. Even if they don't support this, they're never going to stop loving me. And I think that as much as I would love their 100% support of who I am, it's enough just having their love. Because I think as a parent, you don't necessarily need to support your children and everything they do to show them that you love them, but you can still show them your love in a certain way. I don't know, it's really weird. I think you have to be in my situation, in my position to understand what I'm saying. Because I know there's people who would say no, how could your parents love you if they don't support you for who you are? No, you don't understand. Love, I don't know. I just kind of have to, for example, Aspen. He could do something that I'm not 100% about, but I still love him. That's still my baby. That's still, that doesn't change the fact that he's my baby and I love him just because he's doing something that I'm not, fond of or I don't agree with. It's a strange thing, but to this day, my parents, it's already been 8 years, and my parents are slowly coming, to terms with it, and it's gonna take some time for some people, especially if they were raised a certain way, and I respect that. When I say that my parents love me, they love me. They didn't disown me. They didn't throw me out of the house for who I am. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. My story was probably a little more longer, but it's been a roller coaster, but I have found comfort and peace and love and a lot of confidence in who I am now as an adult. I've come a long way, and I think Jack has definitely helped me with that because I was a completely different person a year ago. But I mean, you kind of knew, I knew. It's crazy, when people try to take that away, saying that it's not, it's a choice.
It's just ignorance.
Because you knew. You knew, from a young age, you knew that.
So, yeah. I kind of want to add on to what I already said by sort of going a little deeper. So when I grew up, I have always known I was gay as well, because I think all gay people know that as soon as, I've known since I was in first grade. I remember just looking at the boys and just being what's that feeling, And yeah, ever since then, it's just always been ingrained in me. I've always known. I never had a doubt. It's just, it took me a little longer to find the, courage to come out. But luckily, I am incredibly grateful that my parents are very supportive and understanding of me in that way.
Yeah, it's amazing parents.
And like I said, I'm pretty sure at least my mom had always known I was gay, because I remember giving her fashion advice and stuff. She would come to me with 2 pieces of clothes and pick one, and I'm I like the colors on that one, So I've always had this she always kind of knew, but it never I never let it out until I was 17, officially. And yeah, it sucked being in the closet.
It makes a huge difference.
It completely changes how you view yourself, and it gives you this sort of new lease on life. It makes you feel like a new person when you come out. It's an amazing experience that not everyone gets to have, and I'm very grateful.
It's almost this relief.
It's incredibly relieving.
It's this weight this immense weight that is taken off your shoulders. And,
Exactly.
I think, 17 is definitely...
Some people would still call that early.
That's still kind of early.
Some people don't come out till they're in their 20s,
Like till they're our age.
Or older even.
They're older.
Some people stay in the closet their whole lives,
I think for me though, like I was very young. 14 is definitely very young to know 100% like to be confident 100% in what you're gonna say and like have that comfort in yourself, that confidence in yourself that it's happening and you're ready to tell everyone, you're ready to tell the world who you are. So I really think like from 14 to 17 a lot can happen. I feel like Jack and I were just in different positions, different situations from when we were 14 and then when we were 17. I had already came out 3 years before he did. So I feel like I had gone through all these hardships and then I'm just so grateful that he didn't really have to endure that. He 100% like had his parents' support from the very start.
And that's the thing, like I didn't want to come out because, one, I was so used to it, and two, I don't know, I didn't have very much self-esteem back then at all, and I was very depressed. At that point in my life, I was very reclusive and I had horrible social anxiety, which didn't help. I still do. But yeah, I guess it just took me a little longer because it took me till I was 17 for me to start realizing, this is really who I am and it's always going to be who I am no matter what. And at that point, once I realized that, I found the courage to just say it and let it be known who I am and how I roll. There's nothing anyone can do about it.
It was very difficult for me coming to terms with it because even though I already knew and even though I was like already confident enough to say it, I was still not comfortable with myself. Not in like, because I guess I wasn't comfortable in the sense that like, I just hated the fact that like, why do we have to live in a world where like we have to come out? Why can't it just be like normal already,
Yeah.
And like now, obviously, 8 years ago to today, so much progress has been made. And obviously it's totally normal now, like, right? But like even 8 years ago, there was still a little bit of stigma as opposed to now.
Yeah, and like when you're that young, there's a lot of things going on in your head, and there's this kind of like, sometimes you don't really feel normal, like there's this sort of doubt, am I normal, like how am I, like, why do I have to be like this?
There was times where I would question and I would
like, you wish it wasn't, true sometimes, but there's this kind of like there's this almost shame about it, and it can be hard.
It can. I was bullied in elementary school. All the kids knew that I was different, and like especially all the boys were like, "Are you a girl? Like, why do you like do this or like why do you do that?" Growing up, I only had like most of my friends were girls. It wasn't until I got to like high school that I actually had guy friends, because I feel like when you're in high school, that's when you start like becoming more open-minded, especially like back then. Now it's probably a lot easier for like middle schoolers to be like more open-minded, even elementary schoolers, because we're living in a different time now than we were when we were kids,
That's very true. The stigma is a lot different now.
Yeah. We're still Gen Z, but we're at very old, like we're the older Gen Z.
We were some of the first Zoomers.
First Gen Z, we're the ones that like our age group, like the early 20s, are the ones that kind of paved that way for the generations that came like after us. Like we're Gen Z, but the younger Gen Z are at a much different position even, because they're all more open-minded and innovative, and like they're,
everyone's woke now.
Thank God, like I don't experience homophobia anymore. I think the last time I ever did was like maybe in high school, but not anymore. And now I have the confidence to like flip someone off if they say anything, or
I'll kick someone's ass. I don't care.
I think that Jack and I are definitely in a much better place in our lives. And we're definitely happier. I mean, life's not perfect and there's always going to be problems in life, and that's just the reality of it. But I have the confidence to say that we're definitely in a much better place. We're happy and comfortable and confident with who we are. And I'm just really glad that we live in a world where things are beginning to change, and we live in a time where people are more open-minded and more open to change and more inclusive and accepting of everyone. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the newer generations that are really paving the way for everyone for the future. So if you are in a situation where you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to, come to terms with who you are, or you're not sure of who you are, or you know, and you're just trying to figure it out, just know that you are not alone. A lot of us have been in the same situation. Just know that there is plenty of love in this world, plenty of light, plenty of people that are going to be there to support you. You're not alone in this. You're very much loved and supported. We love you, we support you, and know that everything gets better. And I know that that's a common saying, especially for us.
Not everyone wants to hear that.
Not everyone wants to hear that because everyone just hears that all the time, but it's true. Everything gets better.
It might take years, but it will get better.
It will get better. And just know that you don't have to feel pressured. Everything happens in its own time. So
do it when you feel comfortable.
yes. We hope you guys enjoyed our stories about our coming out experiences.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment about your coming out story if you're gay.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We love you guys, and thank you for taking the time to listen to our coming out stories. We hope this can spread love and light and awareness. Sending everyone a lot of love. Until the next video, guys.